Oh, wait, do I have to do something?
On digital radio, on the app, on your smartphone, on X, YouTube, and Facebook. The Sportscast. Football in January.
The Donut Bag presented by The Sportscast.
The Donut Bag, hosted by Joey Bag of Donuts. And here's your host, Joey Bag of Donuts.
Hi, welcome to the Donut Bag Podcast, part of the Sportscast Network. If you would like to join in on the conversation, just reply. I think wherever you are, just reply. If you're on YouTube, hi. If you're in Twitter, I think Twitter works. Now we're on Instagram. I don't know if Instagram works, but whatever. Hello world. I can't believe I remembered. I can't believe I remembered the intro at the beginning. Dang.
Yeah, right from the start.
I'm sharp as a tack tonight. Wow, we're off to a good.
We're off to a better start than most.
Yeah, we're off to a great start. It has only been 8 days. Where it is? This is Tuesday, January 20th. It has been 8 days ago. Was only the biggest game of the Steelers season, which we have completely forgot about. It has been 7 days since Mike Tomlin quit. It feels like a lot longer than that.
It does.
What? Here's my first question. Now that we've had some time for it to sink in, what do you think Tomlin's legacy will be? Let's say a year from now, or 5 years from now, or 10 years from now, or what are Steelers fans thinking right now about Tomlin?
I think it's a mixed bag. I think more right now, especially the fans, are so glad that he's gone. With time, I think you'll see more and more people gravitate to, oh, he was so great at the time. And a lot of the media like him, guys. I mean, they do. A lot of the media like him. They put him up on a pedestal. And, I think they feel he's an automatic Hall of Famer. And, it's funny, Joe, that you said about 5 years, because I stick firmly to the belief I think he's done. I don't think he's coming back as a coach anywhere. And that'd put him right in Hall of Fame time, Hall of Fame discussion in that 5 years. So, I think that's where it's at. I think everybody's glad right now, at least the fans and some of the media. But I think as time goes by, there'll be some more affection towards him, or more whatever. Excuse me, however you want to form it.
Dave, what do you think about, like, right now, what people are thinking?
Right now, I think it is completely up in the air. Thinking back to the last two coaching changes, Cowher was just 1 year removed from the Super Bowl. So there wasn't that long stretch of futility. And Chuck Noll, it was a very long stretch, not necessarily playoff wins, but, you had a couple of years from basically 1980 until 92, where, we got lucky, we got to the AFC Championship game and got destroyed by the Dolphins. Or we got lucky against Houston and got beat up by Elway in 90 or 89-90. But other than that, you never got a feeling of, this team has a chance to win the Super Bowl. It's this team may have a chance to be good, but there was never that, we're ready. We have the momentum. So at that point, people were like, you know what? We appreciate Chuck Noll. He was the first winning coach in Steeler history, but it was time to retire. And I think part of that was Noll's age also, but he wasn't really old. Maybe, he's, and for the younger kids, we considered old people in the 80s if you were alive in the 80s, anyone over 60 was old. And now we have completely changed that. But I think right now it's a mixed bag, and a lot of it will determine in the next month in terms of who they hire and how that person goes about. Because a coach, you don't get a feeling for how people are going to think about him in the future until you see what happens afterwards.
Yeah.
So
Right.
I think the better question is 10 years in the future, which, given the Steelers, he's going to be here unless something. So
Audio.
success.
Okay, there you are. You're back. Yeah, no, yeah, the 80s were generally bad except for that one year, which was the flukiest fluke of all flukes. But everybody agreed, okay, no, it's time for you to go. It's time to get on with your life's work. Then Cowher comes in and wins immediately because he was a fresh new face and it was awesome. But then now there's some revisionist history going on because people act like Saint Cowher, like nobody ever hated him. People wanted him fired too. There was, I believe, 3 seasons where they were below 500 or something like that, and people wanted him gone because we were mad that he would only make it to the AFC Championship game and lose. He would, oh, what a loser! He only wins 2 games in this year's playoffs, and then he loses. But he did have some, amazing teams, and it seemed like his goal was, I'm gonna stick around till I win that Super Bowl. I cannot rest until I win that Super Bowl, because there was 94 where they lost to the Chargers, and that still hurts me. There was 95 where they lost in the Super Bowl to the Cowboys, and then the late 90s were a little bit rough, and the early 2000s were a little bit rough, and then they got Ben Roethlisberger. It's like, okay, he finally got his Super Bowl. Then I think he was like, okay, I'm done, and then he decided to quit. But with Tomlin,
he had the Super Bowl the year after the Super Bowl, which was disappointing. I don't think they made the playoffs that year.
I think they went
after the
8-8
Super Bowl.
or something like that. It was a really bad year. Yeah.
And then he
Well,
retired. So
I think he's kind of answered your own question a little bit, Joe, because it takes a while to look back and get your final analysis or thoughts on a coach. So you talked about those early 2000s. Well, we had a bad year. What did we do? We draft Troy Polamalu first round. Then we have another bad year. We finished 6-10. Then they used that to draft Ben Roethlisberger. So at the time, as a Steeler fan, you're sitting there going, "Oh, come on, 6-10 or 7-9. What the hell?" And then all of a sudden, boom! Well, now we have this guy named Troy Polamalu. He turned out to be pretty good. Then we got this guy named Ben Roethlisberger, which turned out to be pretty good. And I think that's where you look at Mike Tomlin's legacy. It's a little bit more murky. Because, okay, all he did was win. He had all those winning seasons. But, like, right now, we're drafting 21. And we've been drafting 19 or 20 or 21 for the last, 11 years. And we'll get into that later for some points I have. But, they've never been able to really draft anybody of note. And that's something I think you look back on, it taints it a little bit. I mean, you don't want to say, well, he should have had a losing season. But had he had a mixed bag a little bit, who knows where we could have been.
Right. I think right now the way people view Tomlin is, I think everyone agrees, hey, it was time for you to go, man. This was not working. It is time for you to go. And then that's where we drift off. That's where we say, okay, was he a good coach? Thank you for all these non-losing seasons. Thank you for the Super Bowl. Thank you for all this stuff. Or do we say, man, he was a bum. I hated him. I never liked him. So I don't know what the split is there, but that seems to be where the split is. We all agree he had to go, but then right now, do we appreciate him or not? I don't know if it's 50-50 or what the percentage is, but I think through time, I think people will appreciate him more. And like one of you said, it all depends on what happens next. It all depends on what happens like in the next few years. Are we going to take off or are we going to get bad? We don't know.
it will be interesting to see if they let's say they win the Super Bowl in 3 years, which lots of weird stuff would have to happen.
Let's say we win a
But-
playoff game in the next 3 years. How about,
Okay.
how about we or borrow a little bit
Oh,
more?
no. I'm trying to like replicate what happened to Tomlin. You know, Tomlin came in and won a Super Bowl quickly, but everyone said, "Oh no! It wasn't him. It was Cowher's players."
Guilty.
But Cowher had those players after the Super Bowl and didn't win. So, in my mind, it's a combination of both. Now, if a new coach comes in and wins, is it going to be, well, he only won because it was Tomlin's players, or, oh, this bum got what he could where Tomlin couldn't get it out?
Seriously, I Darren made this joke last week. Is like, if he wins, if the new coach wins a playoff game, like which just wins a playoff game in the next 10 years, he's already done better than Cowher. So, you know,
Oh, yeah.
we'll build a statue of him.
It's basically just like the Pirates. Everyone's
Right.
like, we did 500 in a year celebration, have a parade.
If they go a game over if the Pirates go a game over 500 this year, people will lose their minds. And you're right, there will be parades. It will be, and they'll probably make the playoffs with the way that the baseball playoffs are. So yeah, it would be amazing. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. So let's get on to these candidates. Looks like the main ones. Here is something insane. It's like there's this thing called Kalshi, Kalshi, and it's a prediction market. And it actually is like, I don't understand what these things are, but it's like you can predict things. And right now, there's actually, you could bet on, or you could predict who's going to be the coach. Right now, Chris Shula is in at 52%. He's the front runner. Mike McCarthy is at 23%, and Brian Flores is at 21%. Let's talk about Mike McCarthy. Holy cow. So all of these coaches generally are in their 30s and 40s. They're young guys. And then you have old man McCarthy, who's like 62, I think. And I'm hearing different things. I'm like, oh, it's a courtesy interview just because he's a local guy, or they're trying to pick his brain or whatever. Oh, I'm also hearing, oh my God, he's going to be the next coach. So I don't know what the heck is going on, but what are your thoughts if they did hire McCarthy? Because if it sounds like they get McCarthy, then Aaron Rodgers is coming back.
It's the total opposite way they need to go. It's a total opposite way they need to go. Mike McCarthy does not need to come here. It would be such a Yinzer move. It wouldn't be funny. I don't care about retaining Aaron Rodgers. He did what he needed to do for a year. It was exciting to have him. If he stays, okay. I'd rather see him move in a different direction with a new QB, new offense. It's time to reorganize, this organization, and bring in Mike McCarthy or even Brian Flores for that matter. I think you said, Joe, he was at 22 or 21%. I think both of them are a huge backstep in the wrong direction.
I mean, the reason, I've heard the same thing, Joe, about Mike McCarthy, but I can see them interviewing him as a just in case. So let's say they really wanted Shula. And either the interview goes horrible or the interview goes great, but they just can't come to terms. And then you're stuck without, oh, we wanted this one guy. We couldn't get this one guy. Now what? Because apparently McCarthy pulled his name from the Tennessee.
Yeah, that's, I think, he could be just a failsafe. Here's my what if. Let's say they really want Shula or Steel Haas or whatever, all these Rams dudes. What if the Rams make the Super Bowl? Rams make the Super Bowl.
It's still the same. It's still the same, though. I read that whether you make it or not, if they lose, they can interview immediately. If they don't make it, you can interview during the off week.
Okay, because there is an off week, so they can interview them, and then in theory name him the coach if they want. Okay, so so the Super Bowl doesn't matter. Okay, well then, go Rams. Yeah, but I think that's we're assuming that one of these young guys is gonna knock them off their feet like Tomlin did 20 years ago. Maybe they won't. maybe they look at all these young guys and say, "Ooh, I don't like any of these guys. Let's go with let's go with McCarthy for a couple years, and then think if they think that they could win, it's like, oh, let's keep the band together. Let's keep this together so that we could try one more time with this group." I think that would be the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah.
Please, if you think this group is going to go to do anything, come on.
Yeah, youth is the way to go, and I think offense is the way to go. You look at the last out of the last 14 Super Bowls, guys, 13 of them were won by a former offensive coordinator that's now a head coach, right? So to me, I would like to see Sheil, or however you say it. Everyone says it's going to take Yinzer's 5 years to get it right, but
Yes. It doesn't matter what the proper he'll probably like his first day be like, actually it's Shellhoos or something like that. Now Yinz Steelhaas and that. I got the t-shirt down at Strip District that says Steelhaas. That's your name, bro.
I would take him. I think Clint Kubiak would be a close second for me, but those two are my preferred guys right now. I think they need to get an offensive-minded coordinator. It's time for offensive coordinator, not defensive coordinator. I guess if Chris Shula is a favorite, he would be another guy. Minter's another guy from San Diego that I like, although he's a defensive coordinator. But all four of those guys that are on my top priority are all young, and I think that's the difference.
Honestly, I don't mind if they go defense, but as long as the coach is willing to not tie down the offense. I don't want to have it
like Tom.
Okay, you're great. You're a defensive guy. Get an offensive coordinator. Chuck Noll was a defensive guy. In the mid-'70s, he switched to having an offensive team. And he had an offensive coordinator. He basically said, you're in charge of the offense. And he didn't tinker with it or say, if you have a defensive guy who's like, again, you want to have a leader of men. It's true. You don't want to have to worry about losing a room if something bad happens in the middle of the year. And we see times when coaches, there's a bad stretch and it's like, oh, yeah, the players are not even trying hard anymore. They've lost the room. You don't want to have to worry about that. And so if you can get someone who's leads and then lets the coordinators do the coordinating with some like overall direction, that would be best. And not have someone who has to be, it's like, I'm the head coach, so I'm really in charge, even though I have coordinators. I'm going to work through them. Well, you hire good coaches for a reason.
That was Tomlin's big problem. He did not hire good coaches. But in the latter parts of Tomlin's tenure, he basically said, and basically after Roethlisberger retired, and even through Roethlisberger's last year, he basically said, offense, we're going to be extremely conservative. Don't you dare do a thing. Don't you dare make a mistake. The defense is going to win this, and we're going to win every game 13-12. Notice I didn't say 13-9. But But that's not how he was when Ben was in his prime and he had AB and Le'Veon Bell. He basically said to Bruce Arians or whoever the offensive coordinator was like, hey, it's your offense. You do whatever you want. And he was perfectly happy putting up 30, 40 points every game. So, he was okay with an offense as long as it was good. But when the offense sucked, then he went in this ultra conservative, don't you dare throw to the middle of the field BS that just crippled the team. So, we need a coach, and that's one reason I'm excited about whoever it is I just hope you have a head coach and an offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator that are actually allowed to do their job. Yeah. And
it looks like they're not going to have many holdovers. I know they let everyone go, but I think that's just normal saying, hey, we don't know who the new coach is going to bring in. If you want to find another job, go out and go for it.
I miss Danny Smith already. That was Danny. It was announced today. Danny Smith is going to
there goes the bubble. There goes the bubblegum market.
Bubblegum sales in Pittsburgh have just tumbled.
Tanked.
Darren, you said when I brought up Brian Flores, you basically said hell no. Why don't you like him?
I just don't think he's head coaching material. I mean, if you go back and look, he had a lot of bad karma in Miami. It did not go well. Even down there in the Miami media detested him. He did not get along well with staff. He did not get along well with other coaches. It did not go well while he was the head coach in Miami. He is a coordinator. You know, we talked about that last week, Joe, where we talked about guys like Bud Carson and Dick LeBeau, you know, who go in and they take these head coaching jobs. And you know what? You're a great defensive coordinator, but man, you're just not a good head coach. You know, and I think Brian Flores has got to realize that. So to me, Brian Flores is a mess in Miami. We brought him up here. It worked out up here when he was defensive coordinator. At least I thought it did. And it's worked out in Minnesota. But I think that's what he is. He's a defensive coordinator. That's where he belongs. I don't want him anywhere near here because, again, this is a huge time right now in the Steelers' timeline. This is a chance for them to reorganize this organization and get it headed back on track. A lot like what you're seeing the New England Patriots do. You can hate the Patriots from years ago, the Tuck rule, the cheating. Everybody hates the Patriots. But what the Patriots are doing now is they're doing it right. They hired the right coach. In fact, they hired the coach I wanted, Mike Vrabel. They drafted well. They brought in the right players from free agency. And whether you like them still or whether you hate them, I don't think this Patriots team is as hateable as the last ones we knew with Tom Brady and Bill Belichick. The Patriots you're seeing play next weekend is what I'd like to see the Steelers 2 to 3 years from now, where we're playing in an AFC Championship game based off of good drafting, good free agency, and a good outlook from coaching. And you're just not going to get that with Brian Flores.
Yeah, I don't hate. I mean, I do hate the Patriots, and I always will, but it's not the same as the Belichick Brady cheating. I mean, they cheated the Steelers out of several Super Bowls. Okay, they could burn in hell. But I'm just mad that they got good again. And remember, they lost their Hall of Fame quarterback, and they got a guy, and he was basically the Kenny Pickett of New England, Mac Jones. And you know what? They sucked, and they tried again, and now they got their guy.
Yeah. However, I want to know who in New England has the voodoo doll.
Yeah, really. Oh, what to take out
because of Bo Nix. Yeah, Bo Nix, and it apparently wasn't the next to last kneel down, but he broke it during the game.
Okay.
But still, I mean, how lucky do you get?
I know
that you're in the AFC Championship game against a backup. The only thing that Denver has going for it is they have a great defense, and it's in Denver.
Well, they had the easiest schedule this year, I believe, or the easiest schedule of like any team in several years or some crap like that. Yeah. Then they face what's his face?
CJ Stroud and the Texans.
But before that, they faced the Chargers with Justin Herbert with no offensive line. Then they faced CJ Stroud, who I don't know what on earth happened to that dude, but he fell off a cliff.
He didn't play good against the thing is he didn't play good against the Steelers either.
He did not. He tried. He tried to hand the game to the Steelers.
Yeah,
and the Steelers said no, thank you.
The Steelers gave up 2 touchdowns to the Houston's defense. If that doesn't happen, the game's still tight. It isn't a blowout.
Hey, that's a team that sent Tomlin into retirement. So I'm surprised Darren doesn't have like a Houston Texans jersey or something on or something.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I have this weird feeling that Jared Stidham is going to ball out. I just have this weird feeling that he's going to have like the game of his life, and they're going to beat New England. I don't know.
Weird things happen in Denver.
Because
he's at airport. That airport got weird voodoo going on.
Mile High Magic.
Hey, they have a giant sign.
Happened to us.
With Tim Tebow still not over that game. It happened that year, 1989, with Bubby and Merrill Hodge. But I mean, I've never been anywhere with a mile high elevation, so I don't know what it's like. But I can imagine that would hurt. I mean, hell, it almost killed Ryan Clark. Remember that? You know, he wasn't allowed to play. So but they have a sign outside the visitors' locker room where it's like elevation 5,280 feet. Elevation sickness is a real thing. like to really psych out the visitor. But I mean, New England is we'll see. We'll see what happens there. But yeah, God, Mike Vrabel is just the dumbest. Here's one point. The dumb organizations stay dumb. The Titans are dumb. The Browns, the Jets, they're dumb. They're dumb. They make dumb moves, and they always will have dumb moves. Mike Vrabel was winning games and going to the playoffs almost every single year for Tennessee, and they fired him because he was mean. He didn't get along with everybody. What did he do? Microwave fish in the put fish in the microwave or something like that? Like what a bunch of idiots you have. And here's a funny thing: the Titans just hired Robert Saleh, who's actually maybe a good hire, but they're like, you know what he's like? He's like Mike Vrabel. You had Mike Vrabel, you bunch of idiots.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
That's why the Titans are one of the worst organizations in pro football.
It's a joke. They're a joke.
Now, let me ask you something real quick, because you mentioned the Titans. Are you shocked that Harbaugh and Stefanski got jobs that quick?
No.
I wonder if Harbaugh is regretting the move, because instead of the Giants, you could have had the Bills job. Because that's the job you want right now is either the Bills job or the Ravens job. Although I have my doubts about Lamar Jackson. I think something's going on with him, and I don't think he's going to have a good rest of his career. I just have a feeling he's going to get hurt a lot, or something, or he might hold out or something like that. But I think the rest of his career is not going to go so great. So, anybody saying, "Oh, we got Lamar Jackson," it's like, yeah, but you might have old beat up Lamar Jackson. That's old beat up and unhappy is not a good combination.
No,
I think the Bills, and now it's coming out that apparently Sean McDermott had quite a bit of a blow up with some of Bill's ownership about 4 or 5 weeks ago about the status of the roster. And I think that's something like Mike Tomlin would never do, which, actually good for Sean McDermott. He's probably saying what Mike Tomlin should have been saying is, we don't have any receivers. Look at what I have right now for Aaron Rodgers to throw to. It's nothing. It's pathetic. It's a joke. We have, other than the Bills, who may have the worst receiving core in the league, and apparently Sean McDermott, said some things similar to that, or addressing that and addressing the lack of depth on the defensive, side of the ball. So good for him, but probably one of the reasons he's out. And so, I think it's an attractive thing, Joe, with Josh Allen there. He's only 29. I think people make a little bit too much of he's too old. I don't think he's too old at all. But they got some work to do in Buffalo. They got to hit it right on the drafts, and it's very mirror image to Pittsburgh, except for one major thing. We don't have a quarterback. Even if Aaron Rodgers were to somehow come back here, which I don't think he is, we have Will Howard, but Joe, you've hit on this so many times, and you're right every time. We got robbed of seeing what he could have been. I really, really wish he wouldn't have injured that finger, because it's been so nice to see what we got, because I think we may have something in him. We just don't know. And so, here they are, Steelers sitting where they were when they needed a quarterback last time. They drafted Kenny Pickett. And, a lot of the pre-draft things have them taking the kid from Alabama there as the possible quarterback for this year.
Honestly, I'm not a draft expert. I will definitely say that. But given that they're down to one highly respected quarterback in the draft.
Right.
Honestly, this would not be a bad year to say we're on wide receiver, defensive back, left tackle. Even though the fill-in is great, he did good for a fourth stringer. Do you really want to rely on that? I can see Cam retiring this year. Are they going to trade TJ Watt like you hear people have rumors about? Which money-wise is going to be hard, but do you want to rebuild more of your defensive? You have 12 picks. You can build everything but a quarterback this year if you draft good. And even draft decent, not even great. And then next year is when you get your quarterback.
Do you know what the best quarterback class is? Next year's class. And
Well,
I'm not talking about 2027.
No, it's always
2027, they'll say, "Oh, you wait till 2028. Oh, that's going to be a great quarterback." And then in 2027, "Oh, 2029. I'm pretty sure Jesus is coming back, and he will personally be a quarterback available." I've heard this before, and I've heard this for years. Like, "Oh, wait till next year's quarterbacks." This year was supposed to be the next year for the quarterbacks. This year we were supposed to have like 10 quarterbacks available, and yeah, it is funny that obviously Mendoza is going number 1 to the Raiders, and then the next one is Ty Simpson of Alabama, and I see him going anywhere between 11 and 21. There are like half the teams need a quarterback, and you mean to tell me they're all going to pass up on him? This is Kenny Pickett all over again.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. First of all, I agree with everything Dave said. And I would trade TJ Watt. I know that's probably not the popular opinion. And you're right, Dave. It's going to be hard with the money that's involved there. But I trade him because you're only going to stack up on more draft picks and get that, which is, again, goes back to my whole foundation of this next coaching hire is extremely important, and I think it's really important to get a youthful coach because Tomlin, that's to me always the tarnish that Tomlin leaves. His drafting has been horrific, and he's been on video. I mean, there's a video out there saying where I'm the coach. I'm supposed to go coach him. I don't necessarily care about some of the talent that they may or may not have. That's why you coach. You go to coach. It's exactly what he says. Well, he didn't coach him worth of crap. Out of the last, since 2013, they've only extended a contract for one player, TJ Watt. That's an 8.3%. The league average is 44%. Out of the 96 players he's drafted, only 7 have made the Pro Bowl, and only 4 of those were starters. The other 3 were fill-ins. So his drafting has been horrific. That's where you go back to what you said, Joe. Is he a Hall of Fame coach? You might say, "Oh yeah, he's a Hall of Fame coach because he did this and this," but those things stick in my head. That's where I say fraud Tomlin, or he's a little overrated. Like, okay, we won, but we didn't win pretty, and we didn't develop the players we drafted, and we got our asses handed to us by Jacksonville in the playoffs and Texas and whoever else, and all that is because I think the drafting has been horrible. So, yeah, Dave, you couldn't be more right. This draft is very important.
Yeah.
Do you go with a quarterback? I don't know. Do you go and get the guy from the Green Bay Packers? Maybe you do. Maybe go get him and give him and Will Howard a hell of a shot at camp this year and see what you got.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. That. I am not okay with Aaron Rodgers. God bless him. That was a fun season, and he got a lot out of it. Cool, but God,
it's time.
It's time.
This was his last run. This was honestly, I don't even, and it's hard to get within anyone's head, especially Aaron Rodgers' head. I don't want to go in there. But first of all, since he came to Pittsburgh, complete professional. Didn't go on Pat McAfee show. Didn't talk any weird stuff. Didn't run down anyone. He was a true professional. But maybe it was a matter of he knew how bad he looked with the Jets. And he's like, look, I want to end my career being close to what I should, what in his mind he should look like.
Image rehabilitation was a huge reason he came to the Steelers
and he did it
because his image was so damaged with the Jets. It could not have been worse. And that's one hell of a way to leave. So now he leaves as a quarterback that had a good year. And he still showed he could do it. He showed he could be a good teammate. He looks like he's loved by all his teammates. Most likely he's going to say, "That's it. Okay, I
go to Minnesota.
Accomplished. I'm done."
Or go to Minnesota.
I like Brett Favre did. Yeah.
There you go. Yeah.
That would be fun. That would be funny.
I mean, he wanted to go to that was his first choice anyway. He wanted to go to Minnesota. Like, no, we got JJ McCarthy. We don't need you.
You got 9.
You got
You're like,
nine. Yeah,
"Number
we have
9."
JJ McCarthy and 9. We have 2 quarterbacks. We don't need you. You'd be QB3 here, Aaron Rodgers. Um, yeah, we'll see. This draft and this coaching selection will be huge. And if they do screw it up, can't blame it on Tomlin. Guess who you can blame? Rooney.
Yeah.
Because he doesn't exactly have the greatest track record to past 10, 15, 20 years either. So
No.
No, their quarterback evaluation has been horrific since Bennett's gone. It's just been horrific. So that's the thing. And I'm just curious to see if when we're going to start seeing some of these draft picks maybe get traded for the draft. Let's see what we're going to be sitting at. Are we going to be picking 21? Are we going to move up? I don't know. It's going to be really interesting, and it's just even if Aaron Rodgers does come back, even if he came out tomorrow and said, well, you know what, I'm going to come back for everything Dave said, and everything Dave said I agree 100% on. He can retire now, and I have a lot more respect for him than I did if he would have retired as a Jet. And not that he necessarily did anything wrong in New York. I mean, if Jets tarnished him themselves with their ridiculousness there, and being maybe the worst organization in all professional sports next to the Pirates. Oh, I think the Pirates are doing things better than the Jets right now, though, too.
Yeah.
But still, irregardless, that's why everything is so crucial right now in this next week or two. It's like I'm sitting on pins and needles because I'm sitting here thinking, God, don't let it be McCarthy or Flores because I think it'll just set us back. And please let it be one of these young guys, and then I'll feel like a big weight's put off my chest. Like, okay, all right, we got the young guy because I think we need a young guy for everything Dave just said, and you too, Joe. We need a young guy to go in there and shake things up because Rooney and Omar haven't done it right, And who knows if Nate Shieldhouse or Clint Kubiak says, well, wait a minute, guys. Look at this kid from Arkansas State. Or, look at this kid from blah, 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 and bring a fresh perspective.
Yeah.
I feel like Mike McCarthy and Flores would be like, okay, Art, okay, Omar, I think that's what we should do. I don't see them being that, force that the Steelers need or that youth movement in there. I think we do have some decent youth talent on defense. I'm all in favor of Herbig. I think, this last draft may have been absolutely maybe one of Tomlin's better ones. These last two, possibly. The center from West Virginia has turned out to be pretty good. Harmon looks to be pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
The kid from Ohio State.
He was a difference maker as a rookie.
Right, and I think Joey Porter Jr. might be one of the best corners in the league. So, there's where I look at Tomlin and say, okay, all right, last 2 drafts or so, not too bad. Not too bad.
I just checked the 2026 draft. As of right now, the Steelers have 12 picks. Obviously, the first round, the 21st pick of the first round, 21st pick of the second round. Then they have 3 third rounders, and 2 fourth rounders, and 1 fifth rounder, 2 6th rounders, and 2 7th rounders. So they have lots of draft capital. That's one thing they did well. When people say, "Oh, they went all in last year," like, no, they didn't. They didn't. They just went. They did not mortgage the future at all.
No.
So whoever the next. Now, the problem is, because the draft is in Pittsburgh, we're all expecting them, and we've been talking about this for almost 2 years now. We've been expecting them to draft the quarterback of the future, and as we see, there really isn't a quarterback of the future. So, how is the crowd going to react if we get a wide receiver or something like that? I think we'd be okay with that. I think we're smart enough to say I'm okay with that.
If it was a high level wide receiver that people, they'd be ecstatic. Because I think even the average fan knows what kind of shape we're in. We've been with wide receivers. Great wide receiver 1, no wide receiver 2, decent 3 and 4s. we're missing that other headliner.
Yeah, you definitely are. And I don't even know if we have decent 3 and 4s. It's and here's the other thing, Joe. We talked a little bit about this last week. You know where the other thing with Patriots and the Steelers mirror each other right now going into the season is the Patriots had the 6th most cap space when Mike Vrabel took over. The Steelers have 8th. Steelers have $65 million to burn. So, as far as trading some of these guys, like you said, Dave, maybe it's possible to trade DJ Watt. The contract's going to be a little bit of a pain on that one. But we also have some money to spend, and so it doesn't have to be at the draft. And so that's the other reason where I think if you bring in a youthful coach, a new perspective in these positions, OC, DC, HC, that we go get some of this young talent and do what Dave just said, revamp the receiving corps, plug some holes a little bit where we need to. Do we need to shore up that offensive line by just one guy on the left side? Maybe we do. Maybe Dylan Cook is the answer. Maybe he's, the guy there. I don't know. But there's definitely going to be plenty of teams that would give a hell of a hard look at a guy like TJ Watt. You can't tell me like the Bengals or the Titans, someone would be dumb. There's going to be someone dumb enough to take a contract out there, right? There's going to be someone dumb enough to take a
Not the Bears. Not the Bears like they did with
not the Bears.
Oh, okay, yeah. They're still burned by what's his face?
Mapletron.
Mapletron.
Chase
What was that
Claypool,
idiot?
yeah.
I think I have
Claypool.
his jersey. Oh God.
Khalil Mack.
God rest his soul wherever he is right now. He's looking down. He's looking down on us from Canada. Yeah, I'm not sure what would happen if they traded TJ Watt, because he still has 3 years left and basically about.
I think they
40-some
would have
million.
to. Honestly, I could see them having to take a good hunk of that salary.
Yeah.
Yeah,
People will be
but-
like, "We'll take him," but you have to pay or you have to pay 2/3 of his salary. So
But
it still saves you, but
it's a matter of the cap hits. That's the problem, and. Ugh.
Well, and you know what? I don't know how you guys felt, but it kind of pissed me off a little bit. I guess it's half and half. I understand that it kind of pissed me off. Like they're saying that TJ just sat there when Tomlin did his exit thing to the team and said, no. Okay, all right. I know you're attached to the guy, but I don't know if you've been paying attention. This stuff happens. Coaches leave, and you've just been lucky enough that the Steelers are not one of these coaching carousel teams, that this coach happened to stay around for a while. And I understand you're probably attached to Tomlin, and that's okay too. But guess what? Grow up, buddy. You're 30 years old. Things happen. There's going to be a new coach. And you can't tell me, if you had a Super Bowl trophy in your hand, are you going to sit there and go, no,
Right.
no?
Right.
But if you have your damn hands around a Lombardi in 3 years, I think you're going to be pretty happy.
Right.
I think there was a shock. I mean, honestly, it sounded like it was a shock. I mean, no one was expecting Tomlin to resign. And so I think it was partially, here's a coach that we are all in on. And it seemed like the players were all in on Tomlin. The fans, not so much, but the players were all in. Also, it was just that doesn't happen here. What do you mean you resigned? And it was just, honestly, I could see a lot of players, like you say, he's 30, but 30's still young. But to say, all of a sudden this gets thrown in your face. I mean, I've had a situation recently where the CEO of our company was let go. And I didn't have, close interaction with him. But it's still a matter of the head person at your company. All of a sudden you have an all staff. And you're like, by the way, we decided to let go of the CEO and go in a new direction. All of a sudden you're like, oh
my God.
well, yeah, I had, honestly, I'm not high enough up to have the talking points that someone's going to leave or not. But everyone I talked to, it was a complete shock. And we were just, for that day or two, we were just like, okay, we're going to do our
chaos.
job.
I'm sure, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do our jobs, but why, any explanation? And there was, of course, none for privacy reasons, but it's just that shock. And for a lot of these guys, for like TJ Watt, Tomlin was their only coach. It isn't a matter of like someone coming in, but Aaron Rodgers apparently was also very upset, thinking, I let you down, Mike.
Right.
And I don't think it was him who let him down, but it was, I came here so we could win together, and this is something I've wanted, and we didn't do it. Now you're leaving. So, and I just pulled up the over the cap for the Steelers. TJ's current cap number is 42. His dead money is 94 if they cut him, which we know they're not going to cut him.
No.
But how does that affect the trades?
For trade, his cap number would be 30 million.
That's not bad.
So they lose 12. They save 12 million. Okay. DK Metcalf's at 31 million. I don't see them getting rid of him, obviously. Alex Highsmith at 20. Then you have Jalen Ramsey at 19.
I think they're going
Cam Hayward at 19 and Patrick Queen at 17.
I think, like Joe's saying, who's being traded got retired. I think Ramsey's probably near the top of that list.
Yeah. I agree.
And I can see Cam retiring, and I could see them getting rid of Patrick Queen.
Okay, Ramsey has a pretty scary looking contract too. Mm-hmm. He has a 17 million cap hit in 2026, a 19 million in 2027, and 31 million cap hit in 2028. I don't know if that's guaranteed or not, but that's a little scary.
Yeah, honestly, I don't see that. But yeah, Ramsey does not have any dead money.
Maybe it's not guaranteed. I don't know.
Yeah, he doesn't have any dead money this year. So if they cut him either pre or post June 1st, they save $19 million.
Patrick Queen, this is his last year.
Yeah.
Interesting. Jonnu Smith, I will drive that son of a gun out to the airport.
Yeah. And
get
he would
out
only
of here.
His cap hit goes from 10.8 to 3.8.
That'll be one of the big mysteries of this season is what the hell happened with Pat Freiermuth and why did they just ignore him for most of the season? That was unconscionable. That was just unforgivable.
If you have a guy that has a reason to be honked off, it's him. And I hope that, and again, I hope that bringing in some new youth coaching, keeps him here and keeps him engaged because we owe him an apology and he needs to play a lot more next year and be comeback player of the year material because he should have been on that field a hell of a lot more than Jonnu Smith ever was.
Yeah.
And I think that's Arthur Smith.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not Tomlin. That wasn't any of the players. That was Arthur Smith just loving this guy because he had disaster for him before. And I think Arthur Smith's definitely gone.
Oh, please. I hope so.
I think
nobody in the right mind. Maybe Mike McCarthy would think about keeping that jabroni. But yeah, Arthur Smith, that was, he did some good things, but also it was I don't want to say a disaster, but the whole thing with his love affair with Jonnu Smith, and last year his love affair with Cordarrelle Patterson. He finds a guy and he just like falls in love with him. It's like I'm gonna give you the ball no matter what all the time. Yeah. Like, what are you doing, dude? He is known for now. He's been in. I don't think he did this in Tennessee, but he did this, and he was a head coach in Atlanta, and that was a disaster. He had like some of the best players, and he pulled that same crap too. He was, I think his name is Tyler Algier or something like that. You had Bijan Robinson, who's like maybe the number one running back in the league. He's like, no, we're not giving him the ball. We're gonna give it to Tyler Algier. He just finds this other dude and just because it's all galaxy brain stuff. It's like, I know you want me to use Freiermuth or Bijan Robinson. I know and you know that I know, so I'm not going to do it. Galaxy brain. So yeah, Arthur Smith he could also go to hell. Everybody's going to hell today.
It's like in Austin Powers when he only has 6 at the blackjack table. Says, I also like to play dangerous. You only have 6, sir. I'll stay. Yeah, but I think it was Joe, as you said earlier, about Stefanski being in Atlanta. You look at the amount of players he's inheriting there. I tell you what, Stefanski's got a hell of a roster that he's inheriting there, and he could definitely be, coach of the year again, real quick with the guys that he's going to have on that roster. Because he's got, like you said, he's got Bijan Robinson, he's got Michael Penix Jr., Drake Landon, Kyle Pitts, AJ Terrell, Jesse Bates, Chris Lindstrom, Jayon Walker, and James Pierce. I mean, he's got a hell of a roster that he's going to get. Maybe we didn't give enough talk about that, but that Falcons job is pretty attractive too. It needs some tweaks on defense, but that Falcons team was a lot better than what it should have been this year.
Stefanski was considered one of the best coaching candidates of this whole cycle, and he might be the luckiest man in America because now he doesn't have to work in Cleveland anymore and deal with that circus.
Right? Exactly.
He was a good coach on a horrible team with a horrible franchise. Now he's going to be a good coach on possibly a good team. So I think he's going to do very well. I'm glad he's in the NFC because he's very good.
Yeah.
We have breaking news.
Oh,
The Los Angeles Chargers have signed as their offensive coordinator Mike McDaniel.
Oh gosh. That's a guy that I just don't get. I mean, what a fruitcake that guy is.
If there is any person that says, that is the example of good coordinator, horrible head coach, that's Mike McDaniel. He was the least authoritative, say what you will about Tomlin, but he was a leader of men and he was beloved, and he always presented a professional, even though he said stupid, he rambled and said, gibberish, but still he presented a good professional appearance. McDaniel looked like he was about to go clam digging or something like that. And he looked like he was constantly high and he couldn't talk. And it was like, this is the least professional coach I've ever seen.
Yeah, it was weird. You never knew what you were going to get. It's interesting, though. I mean, you're right, though, Joe. He just might be one of those oddities that makes that offense run really well in Los Angeles. So good for the Chargers, I guess, but he definitely wasn't head coaching material.
no. And I mean, like you said, there are people who are great coordinators and they're not head coach material. And half the time, really the only way you know that is if you get hired as a head coach and fail. And hopefully, because very few, once you're on that level, I don't think you have the self-reflection to say, you know what, I'm a good coordinator, but I just don't have the skill. I see head coaches, I don't have those skills to go to be a head coach, but I'm a really good coordinator. I'm not even going to try because I know I missed those skills. They don't have that,
Nobody says that. Nobody says that. Somebody says I could be the next head coach. I want to be the next head coach.
Yeah.
Oh, you're paying me this much? Oh, I'll definitely try to be the next head coach.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, money. Everybody has a price for the $1 million man. But that's the thing. That is the risk with getting a coordinator that's never been a head coach. He could be good, he could be bad. They hit the jackpot with Cowher and Tomlin. We assume
And
that's Shula and all these other coordinators that have never done. We assume they'll be good, but we don't know. And that's, but I'd rather take a chance on the unknown than the known of a Mike McCarthy or a Brian Flores, who just, I mean, man, well, you talk about a bad reputation. That guy just did not. He burned a lot of bridges. And you could say, well, I've changed. I'm not going to treat people like crap anymore. It's like, really? I mean, but at the same time, they know Flores a little bit because he was a defensive assistant here for 1 year. So maybe they would know him better. I don't know.
Right.
It's going to be interesting, and I think we're going to know in the next week or two. And
I would say it's better than a 50% chance that next week's show we either know who the coach is, and I think 2 weeks from now we definitely will know. I don't think it's going to be more than 2 weeks. But I think it's better than, I'd say it's 60-40. We know who the new coach is by the next show.
So let's assume it's one of the Rams people. So they would have to. The next interview would have to be next Monday, right?
If they lose, yeah.
If they lose, yes.
What if they win?
Yeah. I think then you have to wait till the off week somehow.
Oh, so you have to wait another week.
Yeah.
Right.
Interesting.
At least that's why I hear from trying to catch up on it. But the rules are so weird because they can have a virtual, telephone or Skype or show my age, Skype, Zoom call that could last 3 hours. You can have a 3-hour interview before you can have the in-person interview. So the rules on when you and how long you can do and have certain interviews, it is so weird. And you can tell there's a bunch of lawyers running the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I wonder what kind of questions they ask in the interview. I wonder if they say they do the old where do you see yourself 5 years from now? If
you were a vegetable, what kind of vegetable would you?
If I said where do you see yourself 5 years from now? Collecting my 5th Lombardi, baby. I got one for the thumb right here because I'm gonna win 5 Super Bowls in 5 years, son.
That's what I said to Joe last week, Dave. I said I think that's one thing the Steelers have that's very attractive. There's a lot of things that's attractive about Pittsburgh.
Mhm.
But, you get to say these young guys, you have 12 draft picks coming up and $68 million to spend. How do you plan on using that to better our team? So there's got to be a lot of decent questions to ask of these young guys. And, I think and that's the one thing about Mike Tomlin. Mike Tomlin knows how to sell himself. Mike Tomlin sells himself really well. And I think they're going to be looking for the next coach who can do that and sell themselves pretty well. And that's what it might just come down to.
In terms of being a leader and a motivator, and that's what Rooney said. It's like, what's the first trait you look for? Leadership. In terms of being a leader, nobody was better than Tomlin. In terms of being a motivator and connecting with the players, nobody was better than Tomlin. It was all the other stuff, the scheme, the coaches, the talent acquisition, the talent evaluation, all that other stuff was just terrible. But in terms of being a leader, he was great.
And then I would say not knowing your weakness and knowing where to fill those weaknesses in.
And stubbornness.
Yeah.
That was the most stubborn dude. But yeah, I see that's why people say, "Oh, well, the Bills' job and the Ravens' job are more attractive." Really? Not really, because I mean, seriously, the what's the minimum a coach, whoever a coach gets hired, the minimum they have is 5 years here to do things. Minimum.
Yeah.
Other places, 1 or 2 years, maybe. How many coaches you see hired last year, fired this year? They only lasted a year, maybe 2 years, gone. You see that all the time. Not with the Steelers. They're about as stable as they get, and they want to continue that 3 coaches in 56 years thing.
I think that's a good question to ask, Joe. If it was, maybe Joe should conduct part of the interview, but I would say, hey, look, if you're taking the Buffalo job or you're taking the Baltimore job, you're inheriting a pretty decent quarterback either way. Despite what you said about Lamar Jackson earlier, Joe.
Oh, no.
If you come here, we don't exactly have that. How are you going to handle that, and what would still make that attractive? Something like that.
Yeah.
I make these questions hard.
Right.
Don't pussyfoot around about that. But that's what I would say.
I've heard that Will Howard is going to be great because Aaron Rodgers, he was under Aaron Rodgers' tutelage for a year, as if he did a Vulcan mind meld. It's like my thoughts to your thoughts. I'm going to transfer all of my knowledge. Yeah, live long and prosper. I'm going to transfer all of my knowledge to you, Will Howard.
Yeah.
I think that whole mentorship is overblown. Brett Favre hated Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers turned out fine. So, you either got it or you don't. But I mean, that's the biggest question. That's it's almost right up there. It's like 1A and 1B. Who's your next coach going to be? But who's your next quarterback going to be? What are we going to do? And there are basically 2 options: this Ty Simpson dude and and Malik Willis. And okay, but there's like a dozen teams that need a quarterback. So what
Yeah.
are we going to do? What are we going to go in a bidding war for freaking Malik Willis? I don't know.
I mean, now we all understand looking back, not offering Justin Fields $20 million was a good thought.
Thank goodness he turned that
But
down.
but for a starting quarterback, $20 million is not that much money.
It's peanuts.
No, it's
Yeah.
not.
And like you said, there's so many teams that need quarterback. Malik Willis, hey, I had a good half of a year. Therefore, you need to pay me $30 million and $15 million guaranteed. And someone will do that.
I'd be fine with 30. That's as high as I'd go, and that's a little high, but still, like 3 years, 90 million, something like that, or whatever, something like that. But I'd rather have Malik Willis than some rookie who's not considered all that good, or Aaron freaking Rodgers, or Kirk Cousins, or Justin Fields, or some crap like that. I'd rather have somebody with potential that's young than old or sucks.
Or a coach is just willing to try something different than what we've done in the past, because again, our quarterback decision and hiring has been horrible. You know, we Justin Fields, but he's not quite what we thought. We better go get Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson wasn't all that great. So we're going to go get Aaron Rodgers, you know, and I mean, it's just like, holy crap, we've been trying to plug that hole for Ben Roethlisberger hole for years. And Joe, how many times in the show we talked about how long it took them to figure out how to get somebody after, you know, Ben,
Bradshaw, yeah.
you know, Bradshaw, and then the Ben, right? You know, we thought it was Cordell Stewart. Cordell wasn't bad, but, you know.
We went through like 15 dudes between Bradshaw and Ben. We're about at the halfway point of that. That's scary.
Right.
Oh, God. I hope we don't have another like 6 or 7 dudes to go before we get our guy. Oh, my God. Oh, that's going to be a bleak future if that's the case.
Like that guy with the Browns jersey who has all those names,
Right.
You
That
know,
could be us.
Yes.
You know, I mean, it took the Bengals how long after Boomer? You know, Keely Smith and all those bums.
David
You know,
Klinger.
David Klingler and, you know, yeah. So,
And honestly, I feel sorry for Joe Burrow.
oh, yeah.
Being that good and being stuck, I want to say stuck, but being on a team that bad without much hope.
I love that they just said, you know what? We're going to keep our coach because, the owner, he's basically the Bob Nutting of the NFL, the Bengals owner.
Oh, yeah.
And he's like, well, I'm not paying someone else. Get out of here. You're staying. I don't care how much you suck. I'm not paying 2 people to do this job. So you're going to stay here. Yeah.
Plus,
Joe
I had a lot
Burrow.
of money sucking to T. Higgins, so.
Right.
That was a bad contract that they never should have done. But, you know, it's here, there, now. But, yeah, there's just so many questions. I mean, that should be a hard interview. You know, and quarterback's got to be at the top of that. You know, here's what you have, but how are you going to address this? Because we have a problem right now.
Yeah.
That's kind of hard to ask of a coach that's known for defense, huh?
It is. It is.
Yeah. That's the thing, but we will see. We will see. As like sands through the hourglass, so are the days of our coaching search
Yeah.
and lives. All right. Hey guys, thanks so much. Always a great time.
Thanks for having
Stay
me.
warm, everybody. Hopefully we don't encounter any bad weather, and we'll see you next week.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Joe.
Have a
Thanks,
great
Dave.
one, everyone.